The smell of fresh paint and sawdust still lingered in the air as I stepped back to admire my handiwork. 6 months of back-breaking renovation had transformed our family's decrepit lake house into something worthy of a magazine spread. My hands were calloused, my savings account was drained, but looking at those gleaming hardwood floors and that stunning wrap-around deck, I felt nothing but pride. My name is Jasmine, and I was about to learn the hard way that no amount of sacrifice could make my parents see me as an equal to my younger brother. "Jazz, this is incredible." Shanice ran her hand along the custom kitchen island I'd installed. "I can't believe you did all this yourself." Well, not entirely myself. I wiped a smudge off the granite countertop, but close enough. Every weekend for half a year, plus my entire life savings. Worth every penny, though. "And your parents are finally coming to see it tonight?" "Yep. First time since I started. They're bringing Austin, too." I tried to keep my voice neutral, but Shanice knew me too well. "Girl, I hear that tone. You're still hoping this will change things with them, aren't you?" Before I could answer, car doors slammed outside. My stomach clenched as I heard my mother's voice carrying across the lawn. "Daniel, look at the landscaping. It's so different." I stepped onto the porch, plastering on my best smile. "Hi, Mom, Dad, welcome." My father barely glanced at me before his eyes swept over the house. "Interesting choices you've made here, Jasmine." "The property value has already doubled," I said quickly. "I've got the assessor's report to prove it." Austin bounded up the steps, all designer clothes and casual confidence. "Damn, sis, you actually made this old dump livable." He pulled me into a rough hug that smelled of expensive cologne. "Thanks for the vote of confidence," I muttered. But he was already inside, shouting about checking out the rest of the house. The next hour was a blur of showing them around, pointing out improvements, explaining my choices. Mum's tight smile never reached her eyes. Dad kept making little comments about unusual decisions and bold choices. Finally, we gathered around that beautiful kitchen island I'd worked so hard on. I'd prepared a whole spread, all Mum's favorites, hoping to soften her up. "Well," Dad cleared his throat, raising his wine glass, "I think it's time to make our announcement." My heart leapt. This was it. Finally, recognition for all my hard work, maybe even an apology for doubting me. "Your mother and I have been discussing the future of this property," he continued, "and we've decided it's time to pass it on to the next generation." I couldn't help the smile spreading across my face. Shanice squeezed my arm. "Austin, son, we're signing over the lake house to you. Full ownership, free and clear." The world stopped. My glass slipped from my hand, shattering on those perfect hardwood floors. "What?" My voice sounded distant, strange. Austin whooped. Actually whooped, like a frat boy at a keg party. "No way, seriously? That's awesome." "Now you can start building your own family memories here," Mum beamed at him. "Maybe bring that lovely girl you've been seeing." "But I did all this work," I managed to say. "I spent every penny I had." "Oh, honey," Mum patted my hand. "You can still visit when Austin allows it. He's always been so generous with family." Austin laughed, already pulling out his phone. "Hell yeah, wait till I tell the guys. This place is going to be party central." I looked at my father, searching for any sign of recognition, any acknowledgement of the massive injustice unfolding. He just smiled that patronizing smile I'd known my whole life. "Now, Jasmine, don't make a scene. You know this is for the best. Austin needs a stable investment for his future." "And I don't." My voice cracked. "Don't be difficult, dear," Mom sighed. "You know how emotional you get about these things." Shanice's grip on my arm tightened, probably trying to keep me from exploding. But I didn't explode. Instead, a cold, calm clarity washed over me. "You're right," I said quietly, standing up. "I shouldn't make a scene. Excuse me for a moment." I walked to the bathroom on steady legs, closed the door, and pulled out my phone. With trembling fingers, I typed a quick message. "Ria, they did exactly what we thought they would. Proceed with phase 2. The response came almost immediately. "Documents ready. Meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. I stared at my reflection in the mirror I'd hung just last week. They thought they knew me, their emotional, difficult daughter who needed to learn her place. They had no idea what was coming. Through the door, I could hear Austin's excited voice planning his first party. Let them celebrate tonight. Tomorrow would be soon enough to show them exactly what their perfect son's inheritance was really worth. I stayed in that bathroom long enough for my hands to stop shaking, then walked back out with my head high. Austin was already sprawled on my carefully chosen leather sofa, feet up on the coffee table. Hey sis, we're thinking of having the first party this weekend. You should come. He grinned, completely oblivious. I mean, you did such a great job fixing the place up. That's very generous of you, I said, my voice dripping with sweetness. Considering it's your house now. Mom clapped her hands together. Oh, this is wonderful. Everyone getting along. I was worried you might be upset, Jasmine. Upset? Why would I be upset? I picked up my purse. I only spent $50,000 in 6 months of my life renovating a house you're giving to my brother, who, by the way, hasn't lifted a finger to help. Now, Dad's warning tone kicked in. We've discussed this. Austin needs... What exactly does Austin need, Dad? Besides another handout. Austin sat up, finally catching on to the tension. Come on, Jazz. Don't be like that. You know I'll let you use the place whenever. Let me use it. I laughed, and it wasn't a pretty sound. Let me use the house I restored? How magnanimous of you. Jasmine, Mom hissed, you're embarrassing yourself. No, you know what's embarrassing. I turned to face her, watching my mother bend over backwards to justify giving everything to her precious son while treating her daughter like free labor. Dad stepped forward, his face darkening. That's enough. Austin is the man of the next generation. This house needs to stay in the family name. The family name? I threw my hands up. It's 2024, Dad, not 1950. And last time I checked, I'm just as much a Hernandez as he is. You'll probably just get married and change your name anyway, Austin said with a shrug. Besides, I've got plans for this place. Big plans. Oh, really? I crossed my arms. And how exactly are you planning to pay for these big plans? Last I heard, you were still living off Mom and Dad's credit cards. That's not true. Austin jumped up. I've got my own business ventures. If by business ventures you mean poker nights with Diego and his sketchy friends, then sure. Mom gasped. Jasmine, how dare you speak to your brother that way? How dare I? How dare you? I was shouting now, years of pent-up fury finally breaking free. I have worked my ass off my entire life trying to prove myself to you people. I put myself through college, built a career, and then spent everything I had making this place beautiful. And you just hand it to him like it's nothing. We're doing what's best for the family, Dad said firmly. When you calm down, you'll understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I grabbed my keys. I understand that nothing I do will ever be enough for you, because I had the audacity to be born a daughter instead of a son. Now you're just being dramatic, Mom sighed. You can still visit if Austin lets me. I cut her off. No thanks. I'm done being the family doormat. I headed for the door, then turned back one last time. Enjoy your party house, little brother. I hope it's everything you deserve. Jasmine, wait, Shanice called after me, but I was already halfway to my car. My phone buzzed as I pulled out of the driveway. A text from Austin. Real mature, sis. Way to ruin a nice family dinner. I smiled grimly as I typed back, trust me, brother, dinner isn't what's about to be ruined. The next morning, I sat in Ria's office, watching her review the paperwork one final time. My lawyer was everything my parents weren't. Sharp, professional, and completely respectful of my capabilities. Everything's in order, she said, looking up. The renovation permits they signed, the receipts, the labor contracts. It all creates an ironclad lien on the property. They can't transfer clear title to Austin without settling your investment first. And how long before they find out? Their lawyer should discover it during the title search, which, she checked her calendar, should be happening right about now. My phone started buzzing. Dad's name flashed on the screen. Right on schedule, I murmured, declining the call. Are you sure you want to do this? Ria asked. Once we file these papers, there's no going back. Family relationships rarely survive this kind of legal action. I thought about Mom's condescending pat on the hand, Dad's dismissive tone, Austin's entitled smirk, 6 months of breaking my back to renovate their house, thinking it would finally make them see me as worthy. What relationships? I said quietly. They burned that bridge last night. I'm just making sure they don't profit from the ashes. Another call from Dad, then one from Mom, then Austin. I turned off my phone and nodded to Ria. File the papers. Let's see how they like finding out their perfect son's inheritance comes with strings attached. They'd laughed last night. Somehow, I didn't think they'd be laughing much longer. 27 missed calls, I told Shanice as we sat in her kitchen the next morning. And about 50 texts, ranging from, how could you do this to family? To, you ungrateful little brat. Sure. Shanice pushed a mug of coffee across the counter. And you haven't responded to any of them? Nope. Everything goes through Ria now. I took a sip, savoring the bitter warmth. You should have heard the voicemail Dad left. He actually said I was acting like a hysterical woman. Girl, Shanice leaned forward, her face serious. I get why you're doing this. I do. But revenge isn't going to heal what's hurting you. This isn't about revenge, I lied. It's about getting what I'm legally owed. Really? Because that smile when you talk about their panic calls says different. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Ria. Their lawyer finally got through all the paperwork, she said when I answered. He's requesting an emergency meeting. Apparently, Austin's already made some commitments regarding the property. What kind of commitments? He won't say. But he's pushing hard for a quick resolution. I thought about Austin's business ventures comment. Let me guess, they want to settle quietly. They're offering $30,000, I laughed. Not even close to what I put in. That's what I told them. Meeting set for 2 o'clock. You should be there. After hanging up, I caught Shanice's worried look. What? You think you'll feel free after this is done, she said softly. But I'm scared it's just going to make you more lonely. I was already lonely, I snapped. At least this way I get my money back. Money isn't everything, Jazz. Easy for you to say. Your parents actually love you. The hurt in her eyes made me regret the words immediately. I'm sorry, that was... No, you're right, she cut me off. I don't know what it's like to have parents like yours, but I do know what it's like watching my best friend turn into someone I barely recognize. I haven't changed. Haven't you? When's the last time we talked about anything besides your revenge plan? When's the last time you laughed, really laughed, about something that wasn't hurting your family? I stood up, grabbing my purse. I have to get ready for the meeting. Jazz, wait. Thanks for the coffee. 2 hours later, I sat beside Ria in the conference room of her law office, watching my family file in. Mom's eyes were red from crying. Dad looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. Austin just looked angry. Their lawyer, Alvin, spread documents across the table. This is completely unnecessary, he began. We're all family here. Were we family when they gave away my investment without consulting me? I asked sweetly. Jasmine, please. Mom reached across the table. We can work this out. That's what we're here to do, Ria interjected smoothly. My client invested $50,000, plus 6 months of documented labor. At standard contractor rates, that puts the total closer to $80,000. Ridiculous. Dad slammed his hand on the table. We're not paying contractor rates to our own daughter. Would you pay them to your son? Austin shifted uncomfortably. Look, can we just speed this up? I've got people waiting on the transfer. Ria's eyebrow raised. What people would those be? None of your business, he muttered. Actually, it is our business, Ria said, because any claims or commitments made against the property would be subject to my client's lien. The color drained from Austin's face. Dad turned to him sharply. What did you do? Nothing. Just maybe mention to some friends that I was getting the place. And maybe they invested. A little. Invested how much? Mom's voice was barely a whisper. Austin stared at the table. 40 grand. Jesus Christ, Dad rubbed his temples. Tell me you didn't borrow from Diego again. The silence was answer enough. Well, Ria gathered her papers. This has been illuminating. We'll proceed with the lien filing unless you're prepared to meet our full settlement demand. And I'd suggest dealing with it quickly. Some of these investors can be quite impatient. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Austin spat at me. Watching everything fall apart. I met his eyes steadily. About as much as you enjoyed taking credit for my work. Jasmine, Mum tried one last time. We're your family. No, I stood up. You're the people who taught me exactly what I'm worth to you. And now you get to learn what that lesson cost. Walking out, I heard Dad's muffled voice. What the hell have you gotten us into? I wished I felt triumphant. Instead, Shanice's words echoed in my head. You think you'll feel free, but I was in too deep to stop now. Wasn't I? The closing was scheduled for Friday morning. I wasn't supposed to be there, but Ria insisted we make an appearance, just to ensure everything proceeds correctly. Translation, to watch it all fall apart. We arrived early, finding Alvin already pacing the conference room, phone pressed to his ear. No, you don't understand. We need that title search cleared today. Yes, I know about the lien. We're handling it. My parents and Austin showed up minutes later. Mum couldn't even look at me. Austin kept checking his phone, jumping every time it buzzed. Problems? I asked innocently. Shut up, he muttered. The title company representative arrived, looking harried. We have some complications. Everything's in order, Alvin interrupted. The family has agreed to terms. Ria cleared her throat. Have they? Because we haven't received any settlement proposal. We're working on it, Dad snapped. Can we just proceed? The title rep shuffled through her papers. Well, there's the matter of the construction line, and now there appears to be a second claim filed against the anticipated property interest. Austin's phone buzzed again. He practically leaped out of his chair. Going somewhere? I asked. I need some air. He bolted from the room. Dad followed him out. Through the glass walls, I could see them arguing in the hallway. Austin gesturing wildly, Dad's face getting redder by the second. Perhaps we should take a brief recess, Alvin suggested. Of course, Ria smiled. We have all day. Mum finally looked at me, her eyes pleading. Jasmine, please, you don't understand what you're doing. I understand perfectly. You're trying to transfer a property with a valid lien against it. That's real estate fraud, Mum. Your brother is in trouble, she whispered. When is he not? Dad and Austin stormed back in. Austin looked like he was about to be sick. We need to proceed, Dad demanded. Now. The title rep shook her head. Sir, I can't clear this title with these claims against it. There's the construction lien for $80,000, and now this second filing. What second filing? Ria sat forward. Some sort of promissory note registered this morning for $40,000, held by... She squinted at the paper. Diego Little. The room exploded. You idiot! Dad lunged at Austin. You actually let him file a claim? He said he would break my legs, Austin shouted back. What was I supposed to do? Not borrow money from a loan shark, maybe, I suggested. This is all your fault. Austin turned on me. If you hadn't filed that stupid lien, if you hadn't tried to steal my investment... Enough! Mom's scream silenced the room. She was shaking. Jasmine, please, drop the lien. We'll figure something out. Figure what out, Mom? How to make this all go away, like you always do for him? You don't understand, Austin's voice cracked. These guys, they're serious. They want their money today. Not my problem. Actually, Ria interjected, it is your problem. All of you, because if Mr. Little has indeed filed a valid claim, and Mr. Austin has no means to satisfy it, he could force a sale of the property. The colour drained from everyone's faces. A sale? Mom whispered. Yes, and given the circumstances, it would likely be at auction. below market value. But we put so much money into it, Dad stammered. You? I laughed. You didn't put a dime into it. I did. Every penny I had. Austin's phone buzzed again. This time he answered it, hands shaking. Diego, please, I just need more time. We could all hear the voice on the other end. Time's up, rich boy. Where's my money? The closing. There's been a problem. Not my problem. You promised today. Either I get paid or I start breaking things, starting with you. Austin dropped the phone like it was burning him. The title rep stood up. I'm sorry, but I cannot proceed with this closing. There are too many issues with the title. I'll need all parties to sign these cancellation forms. Wait, Dad held up his hands. There must be something we can do. A loan, maybe. Your credit's maxed out, Austin said quietly. I already tried that route. Mom started crying. Daniel, what are we going to do? I stood up, gathering my things. Well, this has been fun, but I have actual work to do. Call me when you figure out how to pay me back my $80,000. Or don't. I'm good either way. Jasmine, Austin called as I reached the door. Please, I'm begging you. Help me fix this. I turned back one last time, remembering all the times he'd laughed while they dismissed my efforts, my worth, my very existence in their precious family hierarchy. You know what the funny thing is, Austin? If they'd just treated me fairly, I would have shared this house with you. Hell, I would have helped you fix up the rest of it. But instead, I shrugged. Well, I guess we'll see what Diego does when he doesn't get his money. Have fun with that. The last thing I heard as I walked out was Mom's quiet sob. What have we done? 3 days after the failed closing, Shanice showed up at my apartment unannounced. Her face told me she had news. Diego's guys paid Austin a visit last night, she said, settling onto my couch. He's in the hospital. Something cold settled in my stomach. How bad? Broken arm, couple of cracked ribs. Could have been worse, apparently. They said it was a warning. I poured us both wine, hands steadier than I felt. And you're telling me this because I know you, Jazz. However angry you are, you don't want your brother actually hurt. Don't I? But my voice wavered. My phone rang. Ria's office. Diego's lawyer just contacted us, she said without preamble. He's filing for an emergency forced sale of the property. Can he do that? With a registered claim and proof of default? Yes, and given the physical evidence of his collection methods, the court's likely to fast-track it. I took a long sip of wine. So what happens now? Property goes to auction. Your lien gets paid first, as it was filed earlier. Diego gets paid second. Anything left goes to your parents as the original owners. And if there's not enough to cover everyone? Silence on the line. Then, Diego doesn't seem like the type to accept a partial payment. After hanging up, I caught Shanice watching me. What? You could stop this, she said quietly. Drop the lien, let your parents sell the place properly. Everyone would get paid. And let them win? Again? Is this really about winning anymore, Jazz? Or is it about hurting them as much as they hurt you? My phone buzzed with a text. Mom, please call us. We need to talk. Delete it, I told myself, but my finger hovered over the screen. Call them, Shanice urged. At least hear them out. 20 minutes later, I sat in my parents' living room for the first time in weeks. Mom looked like she hadn't slept in days. Dad couldn't stop pacing. Where's Austin? I asked. Still in the hospital, Mom's voice cracked. They want to keep him for observation. Observation of what? His poor life choices? Damn it, Jasmine, Dad exploded. Your brother is hurt. Can you stop being vindictive for 1 minute? Vindictive? You stole my investment, handed it to your golden boy, and I'm vindictive for wanting my money back. We didn't steal, Mom began. Really? Because I found something interesting in the renovation receipts. I pulled out my phone, showing them the scanned document. This withdrawal from the construction account? That's my signature, except I never signed it. They went very still. $10,000, I continued. Transferred to your account the same day Austin had his last gambling debt crisis. Funny coincidence, huh? We were going to pay it back, Mom whispered. Like you were going to pay back my renovation costs, or acknowledge my work, or treat me like I matter. Of course you matter. Dad stopped pacing. You're our daughter. No, I'm your backup plan, your free labor, your ATM when Austin needs bailing out. Well, guess what? The bank is closed. Please. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled away. We'll sell the house properly. Pay everyone back. Just drop the lien so we can do this right. Do it right? I laughed. Like you did everything else right. Sorry, but I don't trust you anymore. Then trust this, Dad said grimly. If Diego doesn't get his money, your brother might not survive the next warning. Is that what you want? The guilt hit hard, but anger hit harder. Don't you dare put that on me. I didn't force him to borrow money from criminals. I didn't make him gamble away everything he had. You did that, with your endless coddling and excuses. He's your brother, and I'm your daughter. But that never mattered, did it? My phone buzzed again. Ria. The auction's been scheduled, she said when I answered. Next week. Mom started crying. Dad slumped into a chair. 1 week? I asked. That's fast. Diego's lawyer pushed for expedited processing, citing urgent collection concerns. After hanging up, I looked at my parents, really looked at them. They seemed smaller somehow, older, broken. The auction's next week, I told them. Better start packing. Jasmine, Mom's voice was barely a whisper. Please don't do this. For a moment, just a moment, I wavered. Then I remembered every dismissal, every favor for Austin, every time they made me feel worthless. You did this, I said, standing up. All of it. I just finally stopped playing along. Walking out, I heard Dad say something that would haunt me later. We're losing both our children, Margaret, and we deserve it. I got in my car, hands shaking as I texted Shanice. It's done. No going back now. Her response was immediate. There's always a way back, Jazz. The question is, what will it cost you? I didn't have an answer. I wasn't sure I wanted one. The auction was set for Wednesday morning. On Tuesday night, I drove out to the lake house one last time. I told myself it was to make sure everything was ready for the sale, but really, I needed to see it, to be sure I was doing the right thing. The front door was unlocked. Voices drifted from inside. Just pack what you can carry, Austin was saying. His arm was in a sling, and he moved like everything hurt. Diego's guys will be watching the auction. We need to be gone before they show up. Gone where? Mom's voice cracked. This was our last asset. I stepped into the doorway. They all froze. Don't let me interrupt the evacuation, I said. Come to gloat? Austin's face was bruised, but his voice still carried that familiar edge. Come to make sure you haven't trashed the place before the sale. Dad emerged from the back bedroom carrying a box of photo albums. Like you care about this place anymore. You're selling it to strangers. No, you forced me to sell it to strangers. There's a difference. Is there? Mom sat heavily on the couch. My couch, the one I'd picked out. Because from where I'm sitting, you're choosing revenge over family. Family? I walked to the kitchen island, running my hand along the granite. Was it family when you forged my signature to steal money from the renovation account? We were desperate. Dad set down the box. Austin was in trouble. Austin is always in trouble, and I'm always the one paying for it. That's not fair, Austin started. Not fair. I whirled on him. You want to talk about fair? I put everything I had into this place, everything, and you just expected to walk in and take it, like you've taken everything else. I never asked for... You never had to ask, they just gave it to you, over and over and over again. Enough, Dad's voice boomed. This fighting solves nothing. The auction is tomorrow. It's done. Yeah. I looked around the room I'd rebuilt with my own hands. I guess it is. Mom started crying softly. Where did we go so wrong? You really want to know? I turned to her. It wasn't just the house. It was every time you dismissed my achievements because they weren't Austin's. Every time you made excuses for him and demands of me. Every time you proved that being your daughter meant being second best. That's not true, she whispered. Really? When's the last time you were as proud of my promotions as you were of Austin's failed business ventures? When's the last time you bragged about my success instead of covering for his mistakes? Silence filled the room. Jesus, Jazz, Austin said quietly. I never knew you felt like that. Of course you didn't. You were too busy enjoying being the golden child. I never meant to. To what? Take advantage? Steal my investment? Get in so deep with Diego that now we're all going to lose everything? He flinched. Dad stepped forward. There has to be a way to fix this. We're family. Fix it how? The auction's tomorrow. Diego's watching. The lien's filed. It's too late. It's never too late. Mum stood up. We can sell something else. Take out loans. Find a way to pay everyone. Your credit's maxed out, remember? And even if it wasn't, I shook my head. I don't trust you anymore. Any of you. So that's it? Austin's voice was bitter. You get your revenge, I get my legs broken, and Mom and Dad lose everything. You did this to yourself, I said, but the words felt hollow. Maybe, he admitted, but you're the one choosing to make it worse. My phone buzzed, Ria confirming the auction details. 9 a.m., no reserve price, as is sale. Looking around the room one last time, I saw all the work I'd put in, the walls I'd painted, the floors I'd restored, the memories I'd hoped to make here. The auction starts at 9, I said finally. You should be out by 8. Jasmine, please, Mum tried one last time. We're sorry, we were wrong. Just, please don't do this. For a moment, just a moment, I saw them clearly. My aging parents, my beaten brother, all of us trapped in patterns we'd created together. All of us hurting in different ways. But then I remembered the night they gave away my investment. The laughter, the dismissal, the casual cruelty of it all. 8 a.m., I repeated, walking to the door. Don't leave anything you want to keep. You'll regret this, Dad called after me. Maybe not tomorrow, but someday. I paused in the doorway, not turning around. I already regret everything about this family. What's one more thing? Walking to my car, I heard Mom start crying again. Part of me wanted to go back, to find a way to fix it all. But some things, once broken, can't be fixed. Sometimes all you can do is sell the pieces and walk away. Tomorrow would prove which was true for us. The auction room was smaller than I expected. My family huddled in the back corner, Mom clutching Dad's arm, Austin scanning the room nervously. I spotted Diego's lawyer near the front, looking smug. 3 other bidders scattered throughout, property investors probably, drawn by the rushed sale. Ria sat beside me, reviewing the paperwork one last time. Remember, your lien gets paid first. You'll get your money back. Is that supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to make you whole. The auctioneer stepped up to the podium. My stomach churned as he began his spiel about the property. 5 acres, recently renovated, motivated sellers. As if any of that clinical language could capture what this place meant. Opening bid at 300,000, he announced. Do I hear 300? One of the investors raised his paddle. Then another. 320, 340, 360. I watched the numbers climb. Each bid another nail in the coffin of my family's legacy. Mum had stopped watching, her face buried in Dad's shoulder. 400,000, called Diego's lawyer. The other bidders hesitated. They knew a professional when they saw one. 400,000 going once. 420, called one of the investors. 450, Diego's lawyer countered immediately. Austin made a strangled sound. I knew why. That wasn't enough to cover both my lien and Diego's claim, let alone leave anything for my parents. 450 going once, going twice. 500,000. The voice came from the back of the room. Everyone turned. Shanice stood in the doorway, paddle in hand. What are you doing? I hissed as she sat beside me. Trying to save you from yourself. The bidding continued. Diego's lawyer wasn't backing down easily, but Shanice matched him bid for bid. 520, 540, 560. Where did you get this money? I whispered. Remember that tech startup I invested in last year? It went public last month. I've been trying to tell you, but you've been a little preoccupied. 600,000, Diego's lawyer called, sounding less confident. 650, Shanice responded calmly. He checked his phone, presumably messaging Diego. Then he shook his head slightly and lowered his paddle. 650,000 going once, going twice, sold. The gavel crack echoed like a gunshot. Mom was crying again, but differently now. Relief maybe, or just the final release of tension. Well, Ria gathered her papers. That should cover everyone's claims with something left over for your parents. I couldn't look at her, couldn't look at anyone. Shanice touched my arm. Come on, we need to sign the papers. An hour later, it was done. The lake house belonged to my best friend. My lien was paid. Diego's claim was satisfied. My parents received a small remainder, enough for a modest condo maybe. As we left the auction house, Austin caught up to us. Shanice, he said quietly. Thank you. She nodded coldly. I didn't do it for you. I know. He turned to me. Jazz. Don't. I'm sorry. For everything. I never saw how much I was taking from you until I lost it all myself. Mum and Dad approached cautiously. Mum's makeup was streaked with tears. The house is yours now, Shanice, she said. Please take good care of it. Actually, Shanice glanced at me. I bought it for Jazz. Everyone stared at her. What? I barely whispered. It's your house, Jazz. Always was. I just helped you buy it properly this time. But the money is a loan, a proper one with paperwork and everything. You can pay me back monthly, like a normal mortgage. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Why? Dad asked. Because sometimes family isn't who we're born to, Shanice said firmly. It's who sees our worth when others don't. Mom stepped forward, reaching for me, but I backed away. Jasmine, please. No. My voice was rough. Just no. The house might be mine now, but that doesn't fix anything. It doesn't erase what you did. We know, Dad said softly. We know it doesn't. Austin shifted uncomfortably. So, what happens now? Now, I looked at the family I'd grown up with, the family that had shaped me with their expectations and disappointments. Now you leave, all of you. And maybe someday we can talk about why this all happened. But not today. They left slowly, one by one, until only Shanice remained. You okay? She asked. No, I admitted, but maybe I will be. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Mom. Hope it was worth it. I stared at the message for a long moment before replying. It wasn't, but neither was what you did. Goodbye, Mom. Turning to Shanice, I managed a weak smile. Want to go see our investment? Our investment? Well, you're my family now, aren't you? And family shares things, the right way. She hugged me tight, and for the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. The house was mine. But the cost was still being counted. The autumn wind carried the scent of pine and lake water as I stood on the deck, watching the sunset paint the water gold. Behind me, Shanice arranged chairs around the fire pit we'd built together. Last box is unpacked, she called. You're officially moved in. I turned to face her, leaning against the railing. I still can't believe you did this. Did what? Save your stubborn butt from burning every bridge in your life? She grinned. That's what best friends are for. I was so angry, I admitted. I wanted them to hurt like I hurt. I know, but revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. When did you get so wise? Around the same time you got so bitter. She tossed me a beer. Speaking of which, you got another letter from your mum. My stomach tightened. Trash it. Nope. This time you're going to read it. And then we're going to talk about it like actual adults. I took a long drink. You're not going to let this go, are you? You know me better than that. The letter was short. Mum's handwriting was shakier than I remembered. Dear Jasmine, we found a small condo near Austin's rehab facility. He's doing better, 3 months sober now. The gambling addiction program is helping him understand why he did what he did. It's helping me understand some things too. I keep thinking about what you said that night at the lake house, about being second best, about all the times we dismissed your achievements. You were right. We failed you, over and over, and I'm so sorry. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking for a response. I just want you to know that losing you made me see you clearly for the first time. You were always the strong one, the capable one, the one we took for granted because we knew you could handle anything. I was wrong when I texted you after the auction. It wasn't worth it. None of it was. Not the favoritism, not the lies, not the pain we caused you. Your father still can't talk about it without crying. Pride is a hard thing to swallow at his age, but he's trying. We both are. The condo feels empty without family photos. I packed them all away because it hurt too much to see your face and know what we'd done. But maybe that's the point, to feel that hurt and learn from it. I love you, Jasmine. I'm sorry I never showed you how much. Mom. I didn't realize I was crying until Shanice handed me a tissue. You don't have to respond, she said quietly. But you do have to decide what kind of person you want to be. The one who holds on to hurt, or the one who learns to let it go. It's not that simple. No, it's not, but nothing worth doing ever is. I walked to the edge of the property, where the lawn met the lake. The water lapped gently at the shore, constant and changing all at once. They're different people now, Shanice said behind me. The crash humbled them. Austin's recovery changed them. Your strength showed them who they were, and who they could be. And who am I now? I asked the water. The daughter who destroyed her family. The woman who chose revenge over love. No. Shanice's voice was firm. You're the woman who finally stood up for herself, who showed them actions have consequences, who loved herself enough to say no more. Then why does it still hurt? Because you're not done growing either. I pulled out my phone, staring at Mom's number. Shanice squeezed my shoulder. Whatever you decide, she said, I'm here. That's what real family does. My fingers moved before I could second-guess myself. Dear Mum, the lake is beautiful at sunset. Sometimes, when the light hits the water just right, I remember being little, swimming while you watch from the shore. Before everything got complicated, before we forgot how to love each other simply. I'm not ready to forgive yet, but I'm ready to try understanding. Tell Austin congratulations on 3 months. Tell Dad I don't hate him. Tell yourself I got your letter. Maybe someday we can watch the sunset together again. Not today, but someday. Jasmine. I hit send before I could change my mind. Come on, Shanice tugged my arm. The fire's ready, and I brought marshmallows. As we sat by the crackling flames, I felt something shift inside me, like a window opening in a stuffy room, letting in fresh air. You know what's funny, I said, watching sparks drift up toward the stars. I thought owning this place would feel like winning, but it doesn't. It feels like beginning, Shanice finished, because that's what it is, a beginning. My phone buzzed. Mom's reply was simple. The sunset here is beautiful too. Thank you for writing back. Take all the time you need. We'll be here. I smiled, just a little, and reached for a marshmallow. The night was cool, the fire was warm, and tomorrow was another day to choose who I wanted to become. Sometimes that's all anyone can ask for, a chance to begin again.